I actually looked up actors who are also martial artists.
Mm-hmm.
You're always on this list, by the way. But there's a lot of other ones on there that are kind of interesting. Of course, there's Bruce Lee. Of course, there's Jackie Chan. But then there's also Jet Li. There is Scott Adkins. And then you have Wesley Snipes, Jason Statham, Bolo Young, Van Damme, Chuck Norris, Billy Blanks, Lorenzo Lamas. All these guys that I mentioned, do you know all of them personally?
I think everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody owns their area. Jet Li knows more martial arts than anybody who's ever done a movie, period.
Really?
There's nobody with the knowledge of martial art techniques like Jet Li, bar none.
Really?
Jet Li was a member of the Beijing Wushu Team. It's basically like, imagine the gymnastics. And he's the best in floor exercise and uneven parallel bars and all of these things. And imagine he's a gold medal winner in several of those things. That's the equivalent. He knows so many styles and mastered them since he was a child. So the people that you see in the Hong Kong Kung Fu movies, those are usually members of the Beijing Wushu Team. They're the primo. They're the dream team of the martial arts stuff. When they in their 20s, when they're now a little older, they transition into doing movies. Period. So now he technically knows more arts than anybody. Jackie Chan has done just the most amazing stuff on screen. Bruce Lee was the best martial artist of everybody, martial art wise, philosophy and everything, and putting it all on his shoulders. Tony Jaa physically has done things that nobody else is able to do.
There's also Donnie Yen.
Donnie Yen is, I think he has been the best as far as putting a whole movie together. And he's always stepped up. He's not only like one of those people that's right behind Jet Li as far as learning martial arts styles. His mother was a high-ranking wushu stylist. He grew up, he's like probably second as far as knowledgeable is concerned. And then Donnie Yen has stepped up in choreography like nobody I've ever seen. He brought choreography to realistic fighting. So he has that designation. The best fighter who is a real fighter and has been in the movies is Benny Urquidez.
Okay.
By far, Benny Urquidez has proven himself as one of the people who did the best fight scene ever and was a not undefeated champion. He's one of my instructors, okay? But now, the most exciting fighter ever in the ring happens to be an actor that you saw in Heat, and his name is Jerry Trimble. If you look at Jerry Trimble, he has the most exciting fights I've ever seen anybody do. He was an actor on the side of Al Pacino's. He was one of the good cops on Al Pacino's side. He had, one of those smaller roles, but Jerry Trimble probably had about 8 to 9 lines in that movie.
Yeah,
but
I actually looked it up. Jerry Trimble is one of the fastest kickers in the world.
One of the best kickers.
Hook kick clocking at 118 miles per hour.
Jerry Trimble has knockouts that look like movies. There's a guy named Peter Cunningham that would be honorable mention, and another guy named unsung man named Billy Jackson, who never done in movies, but man, he was one of the most exciting fighters. But Jerry Trimble, bar none, baddest in the ring fighter I've ever seen and ever recorded. And now, then you got real fighters like Randy Couture. You can't deny the man. And he's an actor, and he's doing better and better in the acting. Chuck Norris, one of the best martial artists there are. You know, as a man who is a martial artist, I praise him for the martial arts ethic and everything else. He lives it, okay? Of course, you know, one of the most famous actors. But these are people when you say, and then there's Don Wilson, who was an undefeated kickboxer, friend, trained with him several times, and he's done a lot of movies. That's somebody who needs to be celebrated as real and has his movie following as well.
There's actually a few, because there's an IMDb list of top martial arts actors.
Mm-hmm.
The ones you haven't named, I believe, is Michael Worth.
I know, Mike Worth.
Jeff Wincott.
Yeah. These guys are martial artists.
Yeah. Those are in the top 10.
But I'm talking about people who've achieved status in like championships. You know, there are people who are martial artists who have, you know, as you notice, I will keep going and I'd get to Van Damme.
Yeah.
And people like that.
And actually, Dolph Lundgren is on this list as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's a martial artist.
He's a Kyokushin.
We do the same stuff.
And Goju Ryan karate. He was also captain of the Swedish karate team, 5-time Swedish, British, Australian Open champion, Taekwondo, and Judo. He also used to be the personal bodyguard of Grace Jones.
Boyfriend.
Well, his bodyguard / boyfriend.
Okay, yeah.
They lived together for 4 years.
Yeah.
And, you know, Steven Seagal is actually on this list.
Okay.
But you said that what he does is more like, it's not really martial arts, it's more like
it's
dancing, sort of.
What I can say about Steven Seagal, he's a great choreographer. He choreographed, I believe, the Challenge in another movie prior to him becoming a star, and he started at the top. But what he did, he created a persona that was badass that you could live vicariously through. A lot of the Ukis do a lot of the work in the Aikido type stuff. The Ukis are the guys being thrown. You know what I mean? But, you know, again, I have always said he doesn't have to be a real fighter, you know, because if he had fought, you would know, okay? But, you know, he presents himself the way he wants. That's his choice. But as far as when I say the real fighters, I definitely want to do homage to the people who I know and that you can Google and you watch them fight. You know what I mean? Yeah.